There are two people in this room at least, it's him and me, who are smiling from wall to wall because we're with PEP, no? Parents and Enabling Parents, no? Against the pre-need, together with pre-need to the fashion and the film picture. My question actually is, given a PiNoy Power administration, and the fact that you'll be the Vice President, it's connected to his question actually, I didn't know he was going to ask his question. And given a choice, how you could make the most difference. If PiNoy told you, you can choose what you want to do, how you're going to help me, instead of just, help me in all the aspects of my running this administration, how would you want to help? I mean, is it the business side of things? Is it, what would be your priority? He was asking about advocacy. I'd be asking about priority if, given a choice.
Well, Steve, you're a suki. Every hearing that I had when I was DTI as a senator, show up representing the Grocery Association. So, Philippines. And you can ask him, minsan hindi ko hiningan yan. Minsan, walang record na kahit ano. So, the point I'm trying to make now is, we haven't gone that far. I mean, it's easy to choose cabinet this, cabinet that, advocacy this, advocacy that. But frankly, PiNoy and I are concentrating on making sure that he wins. Because all these plans of when I win, I'm going to, all of that is nothing if you don't win. Right? I mean, for you to make change, first you gotta be in it. And if you're not in it, well, you're just out with everybody else complaining. So first you gotta win it. And so I'm concentrating on that. There'll be enough time to figure out what's there to do. I just know my nature. My nature is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sometimes, I started out wanting to hold the timon. But now it turns out I'm holding the saguan. No? If necessary, I'll hold the balde or the tabo to bail out water if that's necessary. But the point is, the boat has to be afloat and has to get to the destination. That's the point. Kasi otherwise, who's in the first seat, second seat, left side, right side, kalokohan lang yan, the boat is sinking.
I guess the question is more towards, we can all help you win and help you saguan. You tell us, how you're going to move that boat to where we're going.
Thank you. Yeah,
one of the big problems we have, I think, is urban poor. And if you depend on the local government, this will never be solved because these are additional votes. What legislation would you support to be able to move these people out or to be able to make them afford houses that are close to their places of work? One suggestion I would have probably would be, just like before, there was the science tax or something added to the real estate. And the national government, for example, I think it was 1.5%, became 2.5%. No? Can the national government, for example, put in a levy so that the municipalities don't have much say in it, no? Add another 1%. Or probably have even a progressive tax, where in high-rise buildings are taxed more. No? As you go out the floors, your real estate tax becomes, instead of 2.5%, 3.5%, 4%, 5%, 6%. Because what is happening, I think, is that, your rival is the one getting a lot of benefit. The best business in the Philippines is to buy land, hold on to it, pay small real estate taxes. That's the safest business, instead of being more productive. So what would be your plan? Thank you.
Well, on the urban poor, we've actually sat down both PiNoy and I spent a lot of time with Alice Murphy over in Paseco and Jess Robredo and many others. But one of the things that I'm very grateful for, both for the experience and for the learning, is the time I spent in Singapore. Some years ago, Singapore, in an uncharacteristic act, chose me as a Lee Kuan Yew Fellow. I don't know why, but annually they scout around the neighborhood and pick a guy that they want to expose Singapore to. And just more than 10 years ago. So, but they chose me as Lee Kuan Yew Fellow. And great experience. But one of the learnings I had there was this whole concept of the HDB, the Home Development Board, where every Singaporean, it didn't start out the way it is today if you go to Singapore. I mean, it started out very, very rudimentary, very basic, but it gave everybody an opportunity to be a homeowner close to their place of work. The single biggest hurdle that they had was psychosocial. Was not finance, was not physical, it was psychosocial. All Singaporeans at the time wanted their feet on the ground. But as you know, feet on the ground means palayo ka ng palayo. Because there's only so much land, right? So the huge input that they had, the big advantage that they had, is they were able to convince people to go vertical. Which means that they didn't have to spend so much for transport. Their quality of life was so much better because they could be at their place of work within 20 or 30 minutes rather than 2 hours. And it allowed government to husband and consolidate the resources because now you're building vertically rather than building horizontally. Now, in the HGB concept, the moment you get people to accept that it will be vertical, it becomes, the finance side becomes very easy, at least from my point of view. No? Why? You take 1 hectare that's now occupied by urban poor dwellers, right? No sanitation, no, I mean, it's just really a very, very bad quality of life. Theoretically, you can put everybody on 1/2 hectare, 2 floors. You can put everybody on 1/4 hectare, 4 floors. The moment you do that, you now have space for parks and a school and a better quality of life. That's a concept that I've been pushing, that I've been advocating and trying to gain adherence to. But the psychosocial is very, very difficult. People want to have their own plot of land. I've thought a lot about that, and I've talked to a lot of people about that. And it turns out that it all has to do with trust. The reason they want their own plot of land is because akin ito, nobody can kick me out na. Whereas in a high-rise, parang they feel na parang rental. No? Not realizing that if they own the ownership rights to that property, when even if it's vertical, they also cannot be kicked out. Now, when you go to trust, it now means government service and government being able to ensure that the laws are applied. They essentially don't trust government. That's why they want to have their own plot of land. And by the way, one of the first things that they spend on is bakod. I mean, why? Because they really don't trust the world. They've been abused, and rightfully so. Right? I mean, the barangay captain, the tanod, everybody abuses them. So when they feel like they enter their property, oh, I'm secure. I'm secure in myself, in my life, in my future, in my sleep. So if we have a situation where government actually delivers service, actually delivers security, not just physical security, but psychological security, then you have a freeing up of capital. The money that gets spent on bakod can be for business, can be for education, can